So I was initially recording this in my living room, but I don't know. I think the acoustics in here are better. So I'm in my bedroom now, just like up against a random wall. Anyway, hi. It has been a while since I made the previous video on this channel, and there are good reasons for that. I started this channel as a way of kind of keeping myself accountable and on task, and just like going about the business of making my life less stressful and softening things up in terms of just like not doing stuff I don't want to do, focusing on my health more, not overworking, things like that. But then making videos felt like work. And so, in being true to myself and true to this whole, I guess you could say, journey of softening up my life, I had to stop making videos. I didn't have the capacity, but things have changed and now I have the capacity. So I'm going to share with you a few things I did to improve my life by focusing on my mindset and thereby reducing my stress. So the first thing I did was basically try to hold my thoughts captive, not let my thoughts run away from me and like go to negative places. So I was going through something really difficult. And actually, I don't know, it hadn't just begun when I started this channel, but like it had been going on for like some months, maybe even a year. My business had a contract with a large startup, and there was some harassment and like some just like really uncouth, unsavory things going on, and lawyers had to be consulted and all sorts of things went down, and it was just really stressful. And it greatly affected my company's revenue, and it left me with a bunch of obligations that I had to pay out of other areas of my business. And yeah, so that was like a very, very lengthy, very difficult thing that I will get into more, probably just maybe dedicate a whole video to that, because like, whoo, crazy story. And I had to get to the point where I could talk about it in order to even like talk about it like to this extent in a video. Anyway, so like there I was with something that like had become successful, that I really worked on, and out of no control of mine, it seemed like it just became, it was attacked. And no matter how good I was, no matter how hard I worked, it seemed like it was slipping away, like someone was able to take it from me and there was nothing I could do. And even in consulting lawyers and like trying to handle it the legal route, that was really frustrating. So yeah, there I was with this situation that was out of my control. And for a while, for months, like, I tried to control it and do what I could with it and this and that. And it was just making me more and more stressed out. And like, I felt attacked, and I felt like I wasn't well defended by the people who should have been defending me. And I felt like these people were getting away with doing, not even, I don't even know that my mind went that far, but I just knew that it's something I had worked very hard on, worked very hard, bent over backward to make other people happy. And there it was, just like, I mean, it was as if it was like they didn't play by the same rules. It was as if they could just like make it as if it never happened, sort of thing, and make me out to be the bad person. So there was that, and it got to a point where I said to myself, like, something's got to change. And the only thing I can change is how I respond to this. And one thing is certain, and that is that I have to look out for myself. I have to prioritize myself. Certain things are out of our control. I don't think I'm much of a control freak, although I'm sure I have my things, or I have, over the years, as we all do. But I'm generally a very laid back person. But for me, that thing, and that even made it like even more frustrating. Like, I, tried to give them an inch, a mile, or whatever, and here I am. And literally I said to myself, like, in this situation and like other situations when I felt like on, most of them have been on a smaller scale, but this seemed pretty big back then. I've always been the common denominator in the sense that I'm responsible for controlling how I think, how I feel, how I respond, the energy I give off, the impression. You can't control what people think about you, but you can control the messages you send out. So that became my focus. How can I correct me, and how can I look out for me more? How can I embrace me more? How can I, like, if I'm gonna invest this level of energy bending over backward or whatever, it's going to be for myself, not, you know, someone who can just like, whatever, who doesn't care, who can just like screw anyone over sort of thing. And so on top of that, the battle was there, but I had to change my strategy. Let's say that, like, I couldn't fight the battle that way, you know, going at them with lawyers, like, whatever, like trying to deal with them myself, one-on-one, whatever. Couldn't do it that way, but I had to work on me, and I had to work on my mindset. Just like, I wasn't going to leave myself on the front line like that and not nurture myself, not care for myself, not like, I wasn't going to focus all of my energy and effort on something outside of myself when I could be taking care of myself. So I decided that that was a better investment of my time, just like not letting negativity consume me and like focusing on becoming so positive and just like, I don't know, changing the way I think and changing it for the better and figuring out, like, you know, how not to let myself be walked all over in situations like that. Not by trying to control others, but just like by being more sure of like of my worth and who I am and my business's worth. Recognizing like the space I occupy in the world and the space I occupy in relationships and the space I occupy in business transactions, let's say, you know, even though it's my business, it's not me personally, really understanding the implications of self-love. And from that began this, I feel like the word journey might be overused, maybe it's not, but this journey of like changing my mindset for the positive, because like it doesn't profit us to think negative thoughts. It doesn't profit us to worry. It doesn't profit us to like let ourselves become consumed by stuff we can't control, by like trouble that's going on in the world, by like, you know, like the stuff that we feel like we have to deal with, by job stress, by like the crazy employer, by injustice that, you know, like if something does something wrong to you, not saying that you shouldn't care about injustice, we should, and we should do what's right and what's just and stand up and speak out whenever we should. But sometimes the conventional or traditional way that either we've been taught or we have learned or from somewhere else or we've convinced ourselves we should be fighting battles isn't the correct weapon. It's not the correct focus. It's not the correct strategy. And so at that point, the strategy was to just invest in me. So for starters, I had to think about my mental health. And honestly, it was my friend. I mean, I think I was kind of like getting there thinking about it before, but then my friend, I followed up with her. I have a friend who's a lawyer. I have several friends who are lawyers, but she referred me to the first lawyer that I worked with in that situation. And we were texting and she said, in all of this that's going on, make sure you're taking care of your mental health, basically. And like, I felt away. I just felt like, it was almost like I felt like I melted into a puddle kind of, because I was like, that was when it was like, I have to take care of me. Now is the time that I should be investing in myself to make sure that I'm good and I'm healthy, and like, to hell with what's going on with those people. I am the focus. And so, yeah, that started me to thinking, well, like, how can I invest in my mindset and my mental health and to like, I don't know, like change things. And so from there, it led me to thinking, well, the best way to change things is to change the way you think. That's the root of it all. Change the way you think, change your perspective, change the way you see the world. You're going to move in the world differently. People are going to respond to you differently, right? So I inundated myself with all this positive mindset stuff. I can share with you some of this stuff, give you a list, whatever. But like, I remembered actually that like a year before, let's say a year and a half, I started listening to Think and Grow Rich. And I honestly, right off the top of my head, I don't remember what led me to listen to that audiobook, but I started to listen to Think and Grow Rich. You know what? Actually, I just remembered. My brother had the book, and I thought that it was like a get rich quick scheme type of thing, because one of my brothers like has always like, it sounds weird, but he's been into like kind of, oh, what's the next, whatever gimmick. So I thought that was that kind of book. But this is where I draw a blank. I don't remember what led me to look it up, but I looked it up before all this stuff happened, listened to the book, really liked it, saw that it wasn't that sort of thing, and money started coming to me. My business was well funded. And after that, I got into this contract with that startup where all this fallout stuff started to happen between my business and them. So I went back to that book and I found it helpful. It made me feel good. It made me feel better. It made me focus on the positive. And then I started looking for other stuff. Like, that led me to books by Francis Scovel Shinn. From there, other stuff, how to win friends and influence people. Although I didn't really listen to that audio book or read it back then. I think I have that was when I got my a PDF copy of that book to see if I would like it. And I didn't really read it, but I've since circled back to it. Some stuff I played on repeat. Another thing I did was I started sharing the stuff I was doing with a friend to tell her about it. And I had a friend who was also going through a really hard time. And so she and I really got into the positive mindset audiobooks. And so we would, always be in contact with each other about like daily, just about like how we were doing mentally, like what we were listening to, what was going on, our goals, things like that. So if you have a friend, and they don't necessarily have to be going through what you're going through, but like someone who is either already like in a positive headspace or someone who has like a desire to come up and like to really change for the better, you two can like partner together. You can pray for each other. You can like help each other, like plan out your goals, bounce ideas off of each other, like listen to each other, vent to each other, comfort each other. And that was also a friend that during the pandemic, I took a course on like business marketing, and she owns a business too. And so like we had done that together. And so I just felt comfortable reaching out to her with that stuff. It turns out that she's going through things too back then. So I focused on nutrition. And for me, I had done a fast, just like cutting out most things. We'll call it a water fast. And I switched to Country Time lemonade. Don't judge me. Like I'm not like a plain water drinker. Speaking of health and abundance, another thing I did, and this like feeds into the food thing, is I focused on prioritizing my health. So like, for me, that is motivation. Like if I'm tempted to like stress out about something, I'll think about my health. I don't want my hair turning gray. I don't want wrinkles. That's appearance, but it's also health. I don't want chest pains. I don't want headaches. I don't want to not sleep well. Like I need to be healthy and I need to be beautiful. And that means that I can't stress out about things. So then I just stop. I look at what's more important to me and I choose me and looking good and feeling good, and then I stop stressing. As part of looking out for your health, look at your relationships, because a lot of times we are in relationships with people that can feed into our negative thinking. Like sometimes you can't, like if you live with someone and you don't have a place to move out and go to immediately, like you sort of have to like find a way to isolate yourself, whether it's like staying out more, not doing bad things, exercising more, like stay out of the house exercising, take a class, visit friends, read, go to the library, to get another job, but not one that stresses you out, preferably. But you know, like a hobby, volunteer somewhere, go back to school. Find a way to be away from that person and to like better yourself and shift yourself in the direction of creating a healthy distance from whatever it is. If it's someone at work, if it's a job, you know, be on the hunt for like another job, start a business on the side, like whatever you need to do that's productive and healthy, and not always productive, because sometimes you just need rest, you know, but do what you have to do to get to where you need to get to, you know, create that boundary for yourself. Rest for me was difficult because I've always been a person who has felt like I've always had to do, and I've always had to create my own destiny by working hard. We're told, especially in American society, that like if you don't work hard, you're a terrible person, you're a bum. The way to get this wonderfully abundant lifestyle of wealth is to work hard. I had to come to terms, let me tell you, when I went through the thing with the company, I had to come to terms with the fact that working hard, there's more to it than, it's not, you can't just blindly work hard and then your dreams will come true. Like, some of the hardest working people in this country are suffering the most, if we want to be blunt, in the world, you know. So it, like, work can't be your answer to everything. Rest is important, and sometimes it'll be counterintuitive when you need to rest versus work. And that's like a question I can't answer for you. Like, when do you rest? When do you work? Well, okay, so to an extent, I can tell you, listen to your body, because your body will tell you when you need to rest. You don't want to wear yourself down. You don't want to work yourself into a grave. You don't want to like work away your appearance, your longevity, your health, your joy, your happiness. If that stuff is on the line, you're working too much, or I don't know, like, you know, they say work smart, not hard. Know when to rest. Don't be afraid to rest. A lot of times with being tired and like pushing ourselves to the brink, you're not even being productive. You know, you'd be more productive if you just rest and then like come back tomorrow and work on it some more. So like, rest is important. You need rest. You're at your best when you're rested. And the last point I'm going to give you in this video is to have goals, have dreams, write down a roadmap even if you need to, and revisit that often. Think about it daily, envision it, imagine it, think about how you'll feel when you achieve that goal, and just like don't let go of that. Hold on to it and let it be your motivation, and things will change, things will change, things will change. I am sitting in my dream apartment. Actually, I know a lot of because I saw them during that time, there are a lot of videos on YouTube where people are like, oh, I manifested my dream apartment. Let me tell you, the place where I am living currently, so part of the reason my walls are bare is because I just moved in almost 2 months ago. I would ride by this building pretty often because, you know, I only moved like a good 10 minutes away from where I was living before. And I could get into like why I chose this building more in another video, because it does feed into my soft lifestyle that I'm creating for myself. Yeah, I would drive past this building and I would say, there's my new apartment. I'm gonna live over there. There's my new apartment. There's my new home. I'm gonna be moving in there soon. And like, sure enough, I looked at 3 different communities. So my first choice before I toured this building, my first choice was somewhere else, and I didn't get in. Like, whatever. Like, I actually applied for an apartment over there and didn't get it, and so I was like really nervous about applying over here. So I waited months and months and months, and I talked to like an apartment search service. Actually, I knew of this building, but like it wasn't on my radar. I don't know. It wasn't on my radar. And then like I talked to an apartment search specialist just like to see how much things were costing in the market, because, you know, prices are high, you know, like their prices are higher than they've been. And I got this apartment actually when prices came down. I got a great price on this one, but in a bigger and better unit than like I was looking at. But anyway, to get back to the point, I would drive by, I would look at this building every time I would drive by, intentionally look at it. I would say, I'm moving into that building, there's my apartment over there. And like literally, so I have my preferences in terms of what floor I live on. I think I have my preferences in terms of like what side of the building I wanted to live on. I would drive by down the main road and like point, in my mind thinking I'm just pointing at the building. But fast forward some months later, several months later, and here I am, moved in a couple months ago, living in pretty much the actual units that I would look at and point to when I would be driving past. Here we are. So, yeah. It starts with a mindset, and set your mind on positive things and let positivity flow through you and flow into your life and flow from your life from there. That's it for this video. I will see you in the next one.